Thank you, Helen, and thank you, Jeannie, in absentia, for the opportunity to take a turn being on this side of a microphone at a story slam. It's very exciting. Heroism comes in more than one form. One arises in an emergency situation where you need quick thinking, courageous action, and of course it's motivated by caring for other people. Then there's another, quieter, long-term kind of heroism, and that also needs clarity of vision. It also needs courage and patience, and it's also motivated by caring for others. My mother was both kinds of heroes. She was married to my father for almost 60 years. She raised 5 children to independent adulthood, and she was a teacher. Not only that, she was a special education teacher, and her clarity of vision of the potential of the autistic children that she taught, combined with her patience in working with them day to day, was also combined with immense love and compassion for them. And then one day, she needed the other kind of heroism. It was the early 1970s, and I was only about 10 or 12, so this is what I know about what happened that day. It was morning. She was walking into the school as the kids were being let out of the buses and the cars and shepherded into the school. And she still had her coat on, and she had her purse over her shoulder, and her keys were in her bag. By the way, early 1970s, no keyless entry for a car. No such thing as a cell phone. So she walks into the school, she goes up the steps, and then she turns the corner to go to her classroom, and she is confronted with a young man brandishing a gun, herding students and faculty into another classroom. My mother clearly sees there's no future going into that classroom. And so she turns right around and runs down the stairs, out the door, into the parking lot, not even looking back to see if she's being followed. She reaches into her bag, and you know you fumble when you're trying to find your keys? They come right out into her hand. And you know how you're trying to get the key into the lock and you fumble? Well, there's no fumbling. It goes right in like butter. She's in the car, key in the ignition, starts right up. She backs out of the space, drives out of the parking lot, right onto the several-lane highway, which has a median. She looks back, by the way, and he's in her rearview mirror standing there in the parking lot after her. Okay, you need to get the attention of a cop. What do? Something illegal. So she lays on the horn, and she turns up and drives on the median, and there's a police car coming the other direction. So she makes a U-turn right in front of that police car, who obligingly pulls her over. I don't think she was ever happy to be pulled over, except for that time. She gave them the information, they went to the school, the gunman was apprehended, and no one was injured. My mother's clear thinking, quick and courageous action in running for help, and immense love for the students and teachers at that school probably saved lives that day. Then in fall of 2005, when she was 84 years old, she needed the other kind of heroism. My dad had died, the 5 of us were grown and gone, and she was living in a house on the edge of a tidal marsh in Cape Cod. And she got a diagnosis of stage 4 terminal cancer. And my mother responded, not reacted. She responded with her characteristic clarity of vision, courage, and compassion. She made the decision that since she didn't see a future in trying to postpone the inevitable, in her words, she decided to exit the stage gracefully. She had compassion for her body. It had carried her faithfully for 84 years. She didn't want to subject it to useless and painful intervention. She had compassion for the 5 of us. She didn't want us to carry the burden of making difficult decisions. And she had the courage to make a plan and stick to it. Her plan was that for 5 weeks, she would ask each of the 5 of us to take a week out of our lives and go be with her in that house by the marsh. And hospice would offer palliative care for pain management, and she would keep her strength up so she could be fully present with each one of us. And after the 5 weeks were over, she was going to voluntarily stop eating and drinking. And that would give her a death that would be moderately comfortable and under her control. And so it happened. And in the 5 weeks, well, let me tell you about my week with her. We made new memories together, sitting on the couch looking out at the wildlife on the marsh. We ate only our favorite foods, and I have a secret. Malted milk balls are very nutritious. We laid to rest old ghosts, looking at past hurts with a new perspective. And in words and in actions, we expressed to each other the 5 important things that hospice had taught us are really important on any departure, but especially death. I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. Goodbye. And when the 5 weeks were over, she put the rest of her plan into action. And on a cold December morning, surrounded by all 5 of us, she slipped peacefully away. Now, I've never been confronted by an armed gunman, and I hope never to be. But I know I will be confronted with my own death someday. And in either case, I know what to do. With the example of my mother's clarity of vision, courage, and compassion, I know how to be a hero. Thank you.